Hello, friends, and welcome to my next episode of From Profits to Properties, where I help you with business tactics that will help you to grow your business, to earn profits beyond your wildest dreams, and then I give you tactics in order to grow that wealth long-term through owning real estate. And whether you're a business owner or not, if you're looking for long-term wealth building through real estate, you're also in the right place, and you're going to pick up some tactics that may actually help you if you decide you want to grow your own business or just excel in your career. So today for the business segment, I want to talk about the concept of iron sharpens iron. And that's a biblical concept, but I'm not going to talk about it in the biblical sense. I'm going to talk about it in the sense of we thrive through accountability and relationships with other people. And I have made a huge amount of growth in my business life through those relationships that I have with other top producing people. And it's important to recognize that you are the byproduct of the 10 people you spend the most time with. Now, I know I'm talking a lot of cliches, but I firmly believe that. And so if you surround yourself with people or you spend time talking to people that are not achieving or attempting to achieve what you're trying to achieve, they're going to bring you back down. It's like the idea of a duck and an eagle. A duck can fly, but a duck can only fly so high. An eagle can fly, and an eagle can fly significantly higher. Well, guess what? If you're a duck and you want to become an eagle, then you need to fly with eagles. You need to be chasing people. Now, you might have some friends that are ducks along with you, but you need to have more than half of the people that you're associating with that are achieving or wanting to achieve what you are achieving. Because otherwise, they're simply going to tell you all the reasons it's not going to work. I was taught a long time ago. I went to a seminar and joined a coaching company back 23 years ago. And the guy who ran this coaching company was super smart. Obviously, I agreed to move forward and get coached by him. But one of the things that he said is, hey, don't run back to the office and tell all your peers all these amazing things that you learned here and expect that they're going to support you, because they're not. A lot of times they're actually threatened by you and they're afraid that you're going to get ahead of them, but they're unwilling to change and unwilling to do the things that you're willing to do. And so what do they do instead? They put down your ideas. They tell you it's never going to work because either A, they don't have the vision to believe it's going to work, or B, worse yet, they want you to fail. They don't want you to achieve greater success because then they will see that they are falling short of what they could become. If you see people around you doing significantly better, they started at the same place and they've grown beyond where you're at, then all that does is it's a mirror and it shines a light on you and it causes you to reflect on the fact that, hey, we both started at the same spot. We both had the same ingredients of success, but that person got greater success than I did. Nobody wants to feel that way to the point that they're going to hold that other person back. So you've got to think, who am I surrounding myself with? What are these people's goals? Am I surrounding myself with people who have congruity or congruent? Yeah, with what you're thinking. And they are on the same page, going the same direction. They might not be going at the same pace. They may be further ahead of you or further behind you, but you have people who are trying to grow, because many people don't have a growth mindset. They have a fixed mindset. They say, you know what? We're only what we have in front of us. We can't make more. We can't make something out of nothing. That belief, that mindset can really hold you back, because the mind is super, super powerful. And so what you tell yourself, you're likely to manifest into coming true. If you believe something to be true, if everybody around you tells you that that's true and that you're never going to get above where you're at a certain point, you believe it. Okay. It is damaging to you to surround yourself with people that aren't thinking the way that you are thinking. And if you want to change the way you're thinking, the fastest way to do that is to change the people that you're talking to. Change the people around you who are giving you advice, because their advice matches where they are in life and where they want to go. And remember, even though they say it, even though you wish that it's true, they may not necessarily have your best interest at heart. And so take everything with a grain of salt and understand that as you're reevaluating, am I accomplishing the goals that I want to accomplish? Now is the season. We're in the middle of the fourth quarter. It is the end of October of 2025. And if you aren't already thinking about 2026, you're behind. Now is the time to be thinking about 2026, planning for next year. And as you're doing that, think about, who am I spending time talking to? What groups am I a part of? What groups should I become a part of? What things should I be doing different in my life and in my business to accomplish the goals that I want to accomplish? And that doesn't mean you alienate the people that you've built relationships with, but it means that, hey, you got to decide which ones are the people that are going to help propel you and which ones are the ones that are going to pull you back. And the ones that are going to hold you back, maybe you don't hold them in the same level of sharing that you used to. Maybe you don't confide in them on what your goals are or what your expectations are, because the truth is they're not going to join that journey with you. They're going to stand in front of you and tell you that you're not going to make it happen, and they're going to become a roadblock more than they're going to be an ally. That doesn't make them a bad person. It just makes them a bad confidant professionally in trying to accomplish what you want to accomplish in your business. Hey, thanks for listening to the first half of my podcast. Stick around for the second half, and we're talking about property ownership and tactics related to helping you grow wealth through real estate. Stay tuned through this quick, short commercial break, and we'll be right back. I want to take a quick time out from our show to remind you about my rent qualifier loan. If you are looking to build your real estate portfolio and you have gone through the process before buying rental properties, you know it's a tedious process of looking at everything, and that isn't required anymore. Check out my rent qualifier loan, where we simplify the process and you get similar interest rates with a lot more flexibility simply by looking at the rental income of the property you're buying or refinancing compared to the mortgage payment. So for more information, reach out to us by calling us at 85 Loan King. That's 855-626-5464, or go to 85loanking.com/RQ. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the second half of the podcast. Thanks so much for listening to the first part. Now we're going to dive into tactics to help you grow your real estate portfolio. So today I want to talk about refinancing. Refinancing, as interest rates are coming down, is becoming a bigger and bigger topic that a lot of people don't thoroughly understand. Now, people who own their primary home, you're looking at refinancing maybe a little bit different than people who own investment properties, but the concept is the same, which is that there's really only 3 reasons to refinance a property, and none of them have to do with interest rates. So the first reason to refinance a property is to pay off debt faster. Okay, now I didn't just say pay off your home faster, but pay off debt faster. The second reason is to lower your monthly payment. Again, I didn't say lower your mortgage payment, but lower your monthly payment. And then the third reason is to pull cash out. Now let's dissect those, because every reason you've ever been told on why you should refinance fits into one of those 3 categories. So paying off debt faster, that is shortening your term. It's shortening how long it's going to take to be debt free. Now, sometimes that means putting everything into one loan, including paying off your credit cards and your car payment. You might say, John, that makes no sense because my car payment's paid off in 5 years. My mortgage has 28 years left. Why would I put it together? It's called the snowball effect. And so first of all, you can help with cash flow, because sometimes that's obviously question or item number 2 is lowering your monthly payment. But sometimes having all those other debts creates a cash flow issue that says, hey, I just can't afford to make my payments today. And if you can't afford to make your payments today, you won't survive until tomorrow. But before I get into cash flow, you look at you're spending X amount of dollars, and let's say you're happy with those dollars. Like, look, I'm fine spending the money I'm spending per month between my car payment, my house payment, my credit cards. Fine. But could you pay off faster if you kept paying that dollar amount under a new mortgage where everything was in one debt? And maybe, just maybe, you might have a higher interest rate than you have on your current mortgage, but a lower overall effective interest rate, because your credit card rates are significantly higher. Your car loan may be at a higher rate and is not tax deductible. But the snowball method that I referred to is, hey, I might pay $2,000 a month on my house payment, $1,000 a month between my 2 car payments, and $500 a month with my credit cards. So I'm spending $3,500 a month. Well, that car payment was going to drop off. So the $1,000 a month you were paying towards those 2 cars, that now applies towards the rest of the debt because you're continuing to pay that $3,500. So there's the caveat here, which is you might need a new car. So this doesn't always work as simple as I'm saying, and it really is important that you have somebody who's guiding you through this thought process that looks at it holistically. Because you can't say, oh, I'm just going to finance this car and make this payment for the next 30 years, because you're probably going to need a new car before that timeline. So you got to think through contingencies here. But the first thing is paying off debt faster. Now, sometimes it's just as simple as, hey, I got a 30-year fixed rate at 7.5 on a primary residence back when rates were high in 2023. And now I can get a 15-year at 5.5 Now, the interest rate is the vehicle that gets you the ability to get a shorter payoff term. But the interest rate is not the actual benefit. The benefit is, hey, I can pay off in 15 years for the same monthly payment as I'm paying today. Or the benefit is I can drop my interest rate and I can save money per month while not adding to the time that it takes me to pay off. So many people don't refinance because they're like, hey, it takes extra time onto my loan. I'm starting over a new 30 years and I've already paid for 3 years. You don't have to start over for a new 30 years. So when I say, hey, lower your monthly payment or pay off faster or pull cash out, what most people end up doing is they end up pulling some cash out. They end up stretching their term back out to 30 years. So they keep clicking the reset button every few years and you never end up owning the home. And so the first thing you want to look at is, hey, can I own my home? Can I pay off my debt faster? And often, if you have a lot of credit card debt, you can actually accomplish that faster than you thought because so much of your credit card payment is going towards interest. And if you can consolidate that credit card debt into your primary mortgage, oftentimes you can pay off significantly faster and still realize potentially some payment savings, which is a second key, is saving money per month. Again, I said it a little bit earlier, cash flow is king. You have to have cash flow, whether it's investment properties especially, or it's your primary home. If you can't make ends meet, if you don't have the cash flow to make the numbers work today, you're never going to make it until tomorrow. Too many people are focused only on break-even point. Now, I believe break-even point is an important calculation when it comes to whether I should refinance or not, but not if your short-term finances aren't in line. And so if you need cash flow savings, we've got to find a way to get you cash flow savings, even if it means down the road that you are paying a little bit more long-term, because you'll never make it to the long-term. You'll lose the house to foreclosure if you don't fix the short-term problem. It's like saying, hey, you shouldn't move somebody who's been in a car accident because they could have a spinal injury. But if the car's on fire and there's gas leaking, you need to move them because the short-term problem is an explosion that's going to kill you. And it does not matter whether you have a spinal injury or if I'm exacerbating that spinal injury, if you're dead. So I need to pull you out of the car, regardless of whether it could cause some problems, harm to you long-term, because there could be a spinal injury. Versus if you're in a situation where, hey, you're in a crash, but there's no immediate concern, there's no fire, there's no gas leak, then leave somebody in the car, because in that case, yeah, the scratch they have on their arm that's bleeding and the scratch they have on their head that's bleeding isn't going to kill them, but they can be paralyzed if their back is if they're moved and you cause a problem with their spine. So there's layers of saying, what is the most critical thing? It's called triage for a reason, because essentially triage says, in the medical perspective, 3 categories: triage. The category of no matter what I do, everything is going to be okay. No matter what I do, everything is going to be not okay. In other words, I can't save this person no matter what. And then the third group, the ones that I can save if I just put the right effort into it. And so why do I bring up triage? Because when you think about your life, your finances, and you're thinking, hey, long-term, I should do this, but short-term, I should do that. Well, short-term is the key issue when you're triaging, saying, if I can make it through the short-term, then the long-term is the right thing to consider. But if I'm in jeopardy of not making it through the short-term, then it doesn't really matter what the long-term looks like. You're never going to make it there. And then the third reason to refinance is to pull cash out. Now, a lot of people think cash out years ago was always, oh, I'm going to refinance everything and do a cash out refinance. Then in the last 3 years, it's been, oh, I'm going to do a second mortgage. I'm going to do a home equity loan or a home equity line of credit. Neither one of those are the right answer. The right answer is it depends on your circumstances. It depends, yes, on the interest rate you have on your current mortgage. And yes, it depends on the options of interest rates for a replacement loan. But it also depends, how much do you owe and how much are you looking to pull out? I have a client who owed $50,000 and had 5 years left on the loan, and they didn't want to refinance it because they did not want to lose their 3% interest rate. The truth is, with 5 years left on the loan, very little money is going towards interest. It's mostly principal. And they had a need for cash now. They wanted to pull $300,000 out of the home, but they were going to take a 10% interest rate on a second mortgage so they didn't lose the 3%. Well, the 10% second was for 300 grand. The 3% first was on 50 grand. Who cares about the 3% first? Because it's on such a small amount of debt. And so you need to talk to a guide. Yes, I'm interviewing to be that guide, by the way, but you need to talk to a guide who can help strategize with you and to figure out what is the right solution, because there is no one size fits all. But I will tell you that as rates continue to come down, you're going to get hounded more and more by refinance offers. Make sure that it's not about interest rate. Interest rate is never the reason to refinance, it's the vehicle. It's one of the things that allows us to get one of the other three benefits: lowering your term, meaning paying off faster, lowering your monthly payment, saving on your cash flow to have greater cash flow, I should say, or pulling cash out, putting money in your pocket, whether that's to pay off debt, whether that is home improvements, whether that is for buying other properties or improving your business or building a business. Any number of reasons, it's entirely up to you. It is your equity. You just have to borrow it. The equity does not belong to you until you sell the property. So you are borrowing money from the bank against that equity, and you need to recognize that the bank is going to look at your qualifications. And no matter what, you've got to have options lined up to know what is the right decision for you. And I'd love to have that opportunity to be that person to help guide you. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day, and we'll talk to y'all next week. Bye-bye.